Welcome to the first lesson in the VITA Basic Tax Law course. In this first lesson, we will be covering some tax filing basics. These basics include what forms are used, who files these forms, and who are they. We will first take a look at the 1040 form. The 1040 form is where individuals report their income. This 1040 has a watermark to show that it is a draft of the 2022 form. At the time of the recording, the 2022 1040 form has not yet been released. The draft 1040 shows what the form is most likely going to look like, but it is subject to change if there is new legislation or if any issues arise. Although there are changes from time to time, the overall structure of the 1040 remains largely the same from year to year. This slide shows the structure of the 1040. The first section of the form is filing status. Filing status will be covered in depth in the next lesson, but the two most common filing statuses we see are single and married filing jointly. Next is a space for personal information, such as the taxpayer's name and address. This section also includes some questions that can affect the return later on. The next section is for dependents. Dependents are individuals who the taxpayer supports. A future lesson will cover who qualifies as a dependent. Next is the income section. If you are familiar with the 2021 1040 form, you will notice that this 2022 version is a bit different and more in-depth, but the main components are still there. The next section is adjustments. The bottom of the adjustments section shows the adjusted gross income, or AGI. AGI is really important because it can determine if a taxpayer is able to take certain credits or have certain benefits. Finally, on this first page of the 1040, we have the deduction section. Similarly to adjustments, deductions lower a taxpayer's amount of income that will be taxable. This page ends with the line for taxable income. Here we have page 2 of Form 1040. The first section on page 2 is for tax. Since we spent all of page 1 figuring out our taxable income, we can now use tables that are provided by the IRS to determine what your tax is based on taxable income. The next section is for non-refundable credits and other taxes. Credits lower the amount of tax that you will owe. Non-refundable credits can lower your tax all the way to 0, but they will not give you a refund if you surpass 0. This section will also include other taxes such as self-employment that may need to be added back into your tax amount. This section ends with your total tax. The prepayment section comes next. This is where federal income tax withheld will go, such as taxes taken out of your paychecks from employers. The next section is for refundable credits. These credits reduce your tax and can give you money back even if your total tax amount is 0. After calculating your tax and subtracting prepayments and any refundable credits, you will see the taxpayer will receive a refund or have an amount due. The final section is for signatures. This includes third parties, the taxpayers, and paid preparers. As a reminder, VITA volunteers are not paid preparers. It is important to note that many lines of the 1040 refer to other schedules. The three main schedules are Schedule 1, 2, and 3. These images do not show the entire schedule, just the first pages. Schedule 1 covers additional income and adjustments to income. Schedule 2 covers additional taxes. Schedule 3 covers additional credits and payments. There are even more schedules for Form 1040. Schedule A covers itemized deductions. Schedule B covers interest and ordinary dividends. Schedule C covers profit or loss from business. This is for sole proprietorships. Schedule D covers capital gains and losses. Schedule E covers supplemental income and loss, and Schedule F covers profit or loss from farming. Schedule H covers household employment taxes. Schedule J covers income averaging for farmers and fishermen. Schedule R covers credit for the elderly or the disabled. Schedule SE covers self-employment tax. Schedule EIC covers earned income credit. And Schedule 8812 covers credits for qualifying children and other dependents. After sitting down with the taxpayer, we need to determine if this person needs to file. The checklist for this includes determining their filing status, age, and gross income. Chart A from the 4012 tab A will help you determine this. At the time of filming, the 4012 for 2022 was not yet published, so the image shows amounts for 2021 and the inflation-adjusted amounts for 2022. As you can see on the chart, a single taxpayer must file a return if their gross income for 2022 was at least $12,950. If their gross income was $12,949 or less, they are not required to file a return. These gross income amounts are also the standard deduction amounts. This will be covered in future lessons. More information about filing status will also be covered in the next lesson. Special circumstances might require a taxpayer to have a different filing requirement. These circumstances might have to do with dependent status, blindness, or other special taxes. Charts B and C in publication 4012 tab A give more information. Some taxpayers are not required to file a return, but they should anyway. These taxpayers could get money back or another benefit, such as identity protection. Chart D of publication 4012 tab A gives a list of who should file. Before you start a return, you must verify the taxpayer's identity. This includes a photo ID for any taxpayers and a valid tax ID for everyone who will be on the return. This includes dependents. Valid tax IDs could include Social Security number, which can be in the form of a card, letter, or Form 1099 SSA, an individual tax identification number in the form of a card or letter, or an adoption tax identification number in the form of a card. Remember, taxpayers who cannot prove their identity are out of scope. The resources for filing basics are publication 4012, which is the VITA TCE Volunteer Resource Guide, and an IRS Interactive Tax Assistant, Do I Need to File a Tax Return?